Hat, sunglasses, Pepsi, notes, sources, thick skin. Check. You already know. Let's go. Welcome to Gold and Blue, everybody. This is a college football channel. So if you like college football, hit the like and subscribe button. It's that simple. Also, send gear to represent your team and be a part of my background forever. All you have to do is send it to P.O. Box 360, Liberty, South Carolina 29657. Man, oh man, oh man. The Pac-12 is already in trouble as far as, their future, remaining a Power 5 conference. They're losing USC and UCLA to the Big Ten. Talks of the Four Corners going to the Big 12. So they're not in good shape. And plus the TV negotiations, the negotiating period time expired before there was any deal done. So the Pac-12 is already behind the 8 ball. So they didn't need any kind of shove in the wrong direction. Well, they got one on Saturday. First of all, Lincoln Riley is fed up with Pac-12 refs. He's done. He's over. He can't wait for USC to be in the Big Ten. And listen, you can complain about refs pretty much in any conference. I've complained about the refs in the Big 12, especially when it comes to West Virginia, because it just seems like we've always been treated as the odd person in a conference that we really don't belong in. So that argument can really go anywhere. But it was an egregious offense that happened in a Pac-12 game this past Saturday. What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the USC at Arizona game. Right before halftime, USC had the ball and had the lead 17-13 over Arizona. There was 45 seconds left in the second quarter. The ball was on their own 33-yard line. Now, Caleb Williams proceeded to go 3 for 4 on that drive, leading USC 57 yards down to the Arizona 9-yard line. So they were most definitely in scoring range. At minimum, a field goal, right? Well, USC got the first down that they needed to stop the clock. The game clock started running, and the officials decided to respot the ball after the game clock started. This caused the time in the first half to expire. They had time to call a play, spike the ball, and either kick a field goal or take a shot into the end zone. You never know. Lincoln Riley does like to gamble like that. But no, they decided to respot the ball after the game clock started running. Not before, after. That makes no sense. That is terrible, terrible officiating. And it cost USC some points. Now, USC did eventually beat Arizona in this game, but Lincoln Riley was not happy about this at all. And there were several USC fans that took to Twitter and said, this is one of the reasons why we are leaving the Pac-12. We cannot wait to get out of the Pac-12 because the officiating is horrendous in the Pac-12. Well, I hate to break it to y'all, but the officiating is not good no matter what conference you go to. But I will say, this was really, really bad. Really, really bad. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, the Pac-12 doesn't need anything negative to happen to give them a shove into extinction. They're already headed in that direction. So this is just another black eye that the Pac-12 receives. Thank you, officials. Now you've made the Pac-12 look bad on national television. So what a lot of people are thinking is that the Pac-12s may be accidentally causing future potential member candidates to reconsider, and on top of that, current members to start looking at other conferences if they haven't already. So a lot of people really think that even though this is not like happening every stinking game, this is such an egregious event, and the Pac-12 is already on thin ice, that maybe future candidates that have been considered to join the Pac-12 in the future might start thinking about backing out and be like, hey, we don't want to be a part of that conference. That conference is a train wreck. Not only financially are they not doing well, but their officiating is terrible. And then, of course, the current members who already aren't happy with the financial situation, maybe already considering other conferences to jump to, gives them an extra push in that direction. So having said that, if the Pac-12 does not last, if the last days of the Pac-12 are upon us, where do each member of the Pac-12 end up going? I'm glad you asked that, because you know me, Gold and Blue, this is what I do, conference realignment, and where I think members of these conferences could go. First, we'll start at the top, and we will work our way down. Starting with Washington. Yes, I do have Washington above Oregon. Believe it or not, Washington is a bigger brand and makes more money than Oregon. I will give Oregon credit. You guys have created a great smokescreen to make people believe that you are a better brand than Washington and that you make more money. But it's not true. So we will start with Washington. Where do I think Washington could end up? Well, there's two spots. Either the Big Ten or the Big 12. And I think the Big 12 is more like a fallback plan for Washington. And this is if they leave the Pac-12. That's still on the table. They could stay in the Pac-12, who knows. But if they leave the Pac-12, it's either the Big 10 or the Big 12. And I think Big 10 is definitely the first choice. In fact, we've heard that they've lobbied to try to get into the Big 10. They've actually put in their applications. They haven't been accepted yet, but who knows what the future holds. But a fallback plan would be in the Big 12. And yes, the Big 12 would love to have Washington. Washington would make some money for the Big 12. The next brand, Oregon. Yes, Oregon is a big brand, just not bigger than Washington. Two choices. Well, numero uno, and we all know this. Even the Nike president and founder, Phil Knight, wants Oregon in the Big 10. But they also could have a fallback plan of going to the Big 12. And yes, the Big 12 would love to have Oregon. Oregon would make the Big 12 lots and lots of money. But Oregon really wants the Big 10. They've talked about Big 10 or bust. So maybe in their minds, it's Big 10 or stay in the Pac-12. But with all this stuff going on in the Pac-12 and now more bad light on the Pac-12 because of the officiating, maybe they would consider a fallback plan to the Big 12. Next brand, Utah. I think there's only one option for Utah, and it is the Big 12, and it is a good option. It's good for Utah. It's good for the Big 12. The Big 12 does have a new TV deal, and it does have an escalation clause. So it's not just add more teams and you got to split up the pie into more pieces. No, you can actually renegotiate and add value to that. That way each team at least gets the same amount or gets more money if you add more brands. So the Big 12 is a good destination for Utah. Arizona, also the Big 12. And the Big 12 is interested in Arizona as well. The Big 12 is a great basketball conference, and Arizona would definitely add to that. They don't add that much on football, although Arizona has had some good years. The next brand is Arizona State, and people would argue that Arizona State is a better brand than Arizona. So don't get mad at the order that this is in as far as Arizona being above Arizona State. It could be either or. But Arizona State does have a better football brand than Arizona right now, but Arizona definitely has the better basketball brand over Arizona State. Not just right now, but historically. All that aside, I think the Big 12 would be a great conference for Arizona State, and Arizona State would be a good addition for the Big 12. Next brand is Colorado. This is where it gets a little bit opinionated for me as far as where they should go. Now, we already know that they're lumped in with the Four Corners as far as possible future members for the Big 12. I don't think Colorado would be a good addition. The Denver TV market is really a pro sports market, so I don't think you're adding a lot of TV revenue with Colorado. But Colorado is probably a better addition than any other group of 5 teams besides the ones that the Big 12's already adding. But for Colorado, the Big 12 would be a good conference. I just don't know if Colorado would be a good addition for the Big 12. The next brand is Stanford. If they were to leave the Pac-12, I think they either go Big 10 or independent. And that's it. And the only reason that the Big 10 would grab Stanford is if they're 100% confident that it's going to attract Notre Dame. Otherwise, they're going to turn down Stanford. But there's still that chance, and Stanford would be a good addition to the Big Ten. It would give them a bigger footprint in the state of California. And Stanford has great academics, and the Big Ten is all about those academics. The next brand is Cal. I think they could have 3 options. The Big Ten, Mountain West, Big 12. The only reason they would get into the Big Ten is because the Big Ten really wants that research that they have. Remember, once you join the Big Ten, you're sharing your resources with all the other schools. So maybe those academics and all that research that Cal does over there is worth the Big Ten adding them as a member because they have to share it. Otherwise, they could be headed to the Mountain West, or maybe, just maybe, the Big 12 could be interested in Cal, and that could be a fallback destination as well. The next brand is going to be Oregon State. I think they have 2 choices, the Big 12 or the Mountain West. And honestly, I think the Big 12 should add Oregon State over Colorado. But if that doesn't happen, Oregon State could be headed to the Mountain West. And that is if the Pac-12 completely dissolves. And finally, Washington State. Also, the Big 12, Mountain West could be their destinations. And Washington State would be an even better addition over Oregon State and definitely over Colorado. Washington State actually has one of the biggest fan bases in the Pac-12 and a top 25 overall fan base in the nation. That surprised me. If the Big 12 is going to add some schools out of the Pac-12, it needs to be Utah, Arizona, Arizona State, and Washington State. Not Colorado, Washington State. I would even take Oregon State over Colorado. But that's just my opinion. Y'all let me know in the comments section. Do you think that this officiating fiasco is just another step in the wrong direction in the Pac-12? And if so, do you think these are the correct landing spots for the teams in the Pac-12 right now? Or do you see them going somewhere else? That's all I got for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you on my next show.